Okay. So this is page 23 of our notes. They were in the green basket. Yeah, it's the same one as formatted. Whatever you got out of the basket is what these notes are. I think the title was changed because another teacher made them, but. So our notes are gonna be a little bit different. My notes are gonna have a little more up here than yours on the paper. It's so that we were able to fit your examples onto one paper. So it is not gonna be verbatim what you have in front of you. But hopefully you can follow along and still see where we're at. So what is composition of functions? Okay, the composition of functions, G with function F, we write it as this symbol right here, G composed of F. Okay, and what composition means is that basically you're putting a function inside of a function. Okay, so here G composed of F means that you're gonna substitute in F of X for the X of G. That sounds like a lot. It's a mouthful. I get it. Okay. When you're evaluating, there are two simple steps that you generally follow. You're going to evaluate F of X first. So we start from the inside and work our way to the outside. Okay. And this can also be written as F composed of G. And that just means that you're putting G of X into F. Okay, it is not commutative, meaning that these two things do not produce the same result all the time. Okay, so that's really all you had to write there. All right, so again, the steps are, we're gonna go from composition form to function notation, and then we're gonna evaluate the inner function first, and then we're gonna use this value to, from the first output as the input for the second function. So what that looks like, what's next, it's not on your paper, okay? It's not on your paper, don't freak out. What that looks like is that here it says G composed of F at 5, and it tells us our F of X is 3X minus 5, and our G of X is X squared plus 2, okay? So the inside is where we start. So our inside is 5. So our first input is gonna be X equals 5. X equals 5 is gonna be put into F. F is 3X minus 5. So where there's an X, I'm gonna plug in a 5. And now I'm gonna evaluate. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 5 is 10. So the answer that I got from here is what I'm gonna plug into the second equation. So I'm gonna plug 10 into G. So where X is, it now becomes a 10. So we have 10 squared. What's 10 times 10? And 100 plus 2 is, the final output is your answer. So our answer would be 102. Okay, so it's like a puzzle, a connection, a train. One thing leads to another. Okay. All right, are we ready to try it? So this is what we have. So we have F of X equals X minus 5 and G of X equals X squared. And it wants us to compose G composed of F at -3. Okay, so step 1 is to rewrite this. So instead of having it G composed of F at -3, we're going to rewrite it in function notation. So that's G of F at -3. Step 2 tells us to start from the inside. So we have F of -3. So we start with the inside. and that's f of -3. So to find f of -3, I'm plugging in 3 for x in f of x. So that gives us -3 minus 5. What is -3 minus 5? If you owe me $3 and then you owe me $5, you now owe me $8. So that's -8. Okay. So after that, step 3 is to take the output from the inside and you're going to plug it to the outside function. So into G, I'm plugging -8. So my outside, I forgot, I spelled outside kind of wrong. Yeah, I did. Oops. Oopsie daisy. So that gives me G of -8. So where x is, it's going to become -8 squared. And what's -8 times -8? Positive 64. And that is my final answer. Questions about any of the 3 steps? So step 1, we wrote it in function notation. Step 2, we evaluated the inside. Step 3, we use the result, the output from step 2 as the input for the outside function. Yay, nay. When is what? Oh, that. Oh, the full breakdown. Oh, yeah, I will. I get it. All right, let's try it again. So step 1 is to look at what you have. So this time we have f composed of g at -3. So that means we're going to go from f composed of g at -3 equals f of g of -3. What this step is reiterating is that you're taking the number, plugging into the first function, and then the result of that is going to go into the second outside function. So I'm going to do the inside, and my inside is g of -3. So if g of -3 equals -3 squared, because that's where x was, right? And what is -3 squared? Positive 9. Okay, then step 3 is to take the output from here and plug it into our outside function. And our outside function is, our output is 9, but our outside is f, right? So we're going to take f of 9, which equals 9 minus 5. And what is 9 minus 5? 4. All right, questions. Okay. So the other things we're going to look at is composing functions from a table. And it's kind of like you are given directions and you follow those directions, okay? So just like before, you start at the inside and you work your way to the outside. So on this one, it says f composed of g at 3. Uh-oh, uh-oh. And did some weird. Okay, so I'm going to start with the inside. So g of -3. So if I go to 3 and I go over to g of x, what do I get? So I have g at 3. If I go to 3 for x and I go to g of x, what do I get? I get 2. So so I'm going to 3, x is 3. Do we see that? So I go to x is 3, which is right here. And I want to go to the g function. So not the f function, but the g function. What do I get? 2. So we know that we're going to replace the inside with a 2. So now my x is 2. So I go to x equals 2. And the function that I'm going to now is f. When I go to x equals 2 and I go to function f, what do I get? 8. So that means my answer is 8. That's it with a table. Okay, so I'm going to give you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click. So I want you guys to try GF3. All right, so we did okay. If you did it, do you see where you messed up at? Awesome. So let's talk about the next one. So let's check here. So this time we have F, G of 1. So again, you start from the inside. So 1 is going to go to G first, right? So I go to 1 and I go to G. What do I get? So that's F of 3 equals. So now I'm going to go to 3 and go to F and I get 3. That's our final answer. And then we have G, F of 4. So starting from the inside, this time we're going to go to 4 and we're going to go to F and we get 1. So that gives us G of 1. So now we're going to go to 1 and go to G and we get 3. How do you feel about a table? Table's doable? You start from the middle. Start from the middle and work your way out. Okay? All right. So tables and graphs are done the same. Only difference is it's not a table, but you're still doing the exact same thing. Okay? So here we have F, G of 1. So I'm going to start at 1 on graph G. So this is graph G. Do we see that on function G? So if I go to 1, what do I get? I go to 1, I get 3. Value here is 3. So that leads to F of 3. And now I go to 3, but on which graph? F. So I go to 3 and I go up on F and I get 6. So the answer is 6. Inside, work your way from the inside to the outside. Inside to the outside. All right, let's try another one. So this one, our inside is what? -6 and on what graph? G. We start on the inside. -6 on G. So I go to -6 on G and I get what? I get 3. Do we see that? So we went to -6 on graph G and we got 3. Yes? Okay, so now we're left with F of 3. So that means I'm going to go to 3 on F, and what do I get? -2. So my final answer is, all right, so I'm going to pause and you're going to do this one really quick.